You can get to six figures easily by just investing six figures in user acquisition. People who pay, people who do a free trial, they're more likely to train.
How did you get your first 100 users? So talk to me about this pre-launch Instagram strategy that you deployed.
A year and a half before we launched the app, we started running an Instagram account.
Just for the people who are just listening, you got over 500,000 followers on Instagram.
So we started with zero. We were posting constantly. We were doing challenges with people from the community. Before we released the app, we actually posted our classes on a platform that was aimed specifically at pole dancers. It was just like a test run for maybe 6 months or a year, but that also helped us test the classes before we even launched the app. People who were willing to test, that also helped because those people were aware and then they were waiting for launch. And then when we launched, we were just announcing on Instagram every day. We were like, okay, so we're launching in Canada. Which country should we go next? And people would message like Germany, France. And so that helped a lot. So if you're working on an app, just think about your marketing beforehand. It's really helpful because nobody would come. I see people getting to millions of followers just from posting reels. Everybody can grow organically. Share about your product in advance, show some teasers so that you make sure you do have people who would download on day one, on day two, before anything else kicks in.
303 Experience has another question. How do you think about what to put behind a paywall? Because you said you have 10 free courses and then what to keep locked up. How did you guys make that decision?
When we launched, nothing was free. Everything was behind the free trial. So then people were asking, just let us have something without a free trial, just so we try, just so we want to start a free trial, but we are scared to start. Why they're scared to start a free trial, I don't know. You can cancel, but many people are. So, and they were begging for this content. So we started offering those content. So first of all, now probably the same people complain that it's not enough. But what we've learned from an analytical perspective is that people don't really take free classes. With fitness, the biggest thing is motivation. And for most people, it's still difficult to motivate themselves to train. And so when they start the free trial, this is a motivation by itself. They're like, okay, I have the 7 days, I need to train. And so on average, I haven't checked the numbers recently, but from I remember last time I checked, it was 2 to 3 classes a week. And for people who didn't start a free trial, it's basically 0 classes. So some people, of course, do try and use the free version, but most people, they just forget. They don't have this. So people who pay, people who do a free trial, they're more likely to train. Make them pay so that they train, because that's the only way.
What's been your main growth drivers as the company has evolved? Still Insta, more word of mouth, ASO? What do you kind of?
In the beginning, it was Insta and word of mouth. Our first users, because they were so much into flexibility, they really needed their flexibility. It was super difficult for them to find anything like what we were offering, even offline. So it's also, you know, it's easier to be on the market when you offer an online product that's not available online, but also hardly possible to find offline. We started doing some user acquisition just ourselves in the beginning, and now we're doing a lot of A/B testing for paywalls. And social media wise, we are focusing on growing our other channels as well, because we're really big on Instagram, but smaller on other platforms. So looking everywhere, anything that's available. We've been testing a lot this year.
What do you think helped you go over the 6-figure a month mark?
Everybody wants to hear just this one thing, because that's like sounds so easy, so achievable, and like in a fairy tale, you know, like one day I just woke up and I came up with a crazy idea and I just implemented it the next day. And the next day I was famous and rich. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen. To make this happen, it's just everyday work. For 6 figures, you do need a team for sure, because you cannot just keep doing everything by yourself. You do need to have a vision. You do need to test and try as many different things as possible. You do need to not be scared of making a mistake, because we all make mistakes, we all fail. And successful people are not those who don't fail. Successful people, those who keep going after they fail. They actually learn. So I don't even treat failures as failures anymore. It's just lessons. Come up with new ideas. You do need to do user acquisition most of the time to grow, because that's going to just support your growth. It's really important to know that if it's subscription-based apps, because if you just sell one time, but then also you need to somehow increase your LTV, so you need to think about ways to sell them. So it's always about retention. It's always about how do you keep those people, because with user acquisition, the biggest issue is that you invest a lot in user acquisition. User acquisition is super expensive most of the time, so it takes months for you to recoup the investments, several months. At least like 2-3. For some apps, it takes a year and longer than a year to recoup the initial investments. And I don't know if they even make money afterwards or just break even. But it's important to know that, like, okay, so you can get to 6 figures easily by just investing 6 figures in user acquisition, and you'll get there. If you invest $1 million, you'll get maybe 600K that same month back. But then the job is not done, because you need to retain to stay at that level, because you can get less users and make more profits versus you get more users and less profits. And I think also what's important, what your goal is, because if your goal is to make this business profitable, it's one strategy. If you just want to grow it and sell it, it's a different strategy. Because for the second strategy, now investors, of course, pay more attention on what's your profitability. Several years ago, they would just purchase something that's growing. Now it's a different market. So your priorities would be different.